Now that we've taken a look at what some in the community have to say, I think it's my turn to give my thoughts and ideas for what POAP can do. Now, I'm under the assumption POAP Inc. is finding ways to pay for gas fees, infrastructure, server costs, and employee salaries. And there may be a lot more things they have as expenses, but these are the ones that I'm able to think of and are probably the most prominent anyway. To begin, let's think about how things work currently. So right now, here's how the system works. An event organizer, who's known as the issuer, they write a petition to the curation body. And in this petition, the issuer gives all kinds of information regarding their event. And part of this includes asking for a number of mint links that are used to give out the POAP. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. That's this section right here. So when the petition is accepted, the issuer is given their mint links in a text file, and then it's up to the issuer to hand out those links to collectors. And you've seen this part most likely. When a collector receives a mint link, they're taken to a page that asks them to input either their email address, their wallet address, or their ENS domain. And that looks a little something like this. So here is the accompanying of RPL POAP that I helped distribute. Here's one of the links that haven't been claimed yet. I don't believe there's anything on here that's going to allow you to claim it, so hopefully this person still did their POAP at the end of the day, but all right. So when they click on that Mint POAP token button, the POAP will either be reserved to their email address or it's going to be minted to the wallet address that was put in the text box. And as it stands, no payment is required to use the POAP smart contract. There's no fee to have a petition reviewed. And I believe my idea is going to allow for these two concepts to still exist as they are. So when an issuer fills out their petition, they have to ask for mint links. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the petition. All right. So, in fact, the curation body, they consider how many mint links are being requested when deciding whether or not to approve the drop. And I believe it's this aspect of the process that POAP Inc. should monetize. So an issuer would fill out their petition as normal, and before submitting the petition, the issuer would be shown a screen for how many POAP mints they want. And the interface maybe would look something like this. And here are going to be my super tool that I like to call Microsoft Paint. So with this kind of interface, the issuer would put up a collateral bond, and they can either post the bond and see how many mints will be allowed, or they can input how many mints they want, and it would tell them how much money they need to post for the bond. And once the POAP is approved, the issuer, they'll give out their POAP as normal. However, the issuer will then be charged based on how many mints are occurring. And the amount that's being charged would be based on a marginal mint rate. And the numbers that I'm about to show, they're just examples, not necessarily what POAP Inc. should choose as their rate, just trying to keep it easy. Let me go ahead and pull up my second graphic here. So, for example, the first 50 mints would be free. And this would allow for small events or groups to still use POAP in the way it currently is being used. And then once it passes 50, then every mint will tally against a collateral bond. And then let's say for those next 50 mints, it's going to cost 10 cents each. And then once it hits 101, it'll then cost 15 cents each. And then once it hits 201, it costs 20 cents each, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to go ahead and pop back to the other one. So let's say this is the screen that we're looking at, and the issuer wants 200 mint links. So they put 200 into the request box on top, and it tells them they have to post $20 as collateral. And then this would be because, well, the first 50 were free, and then the next 50 were $5, and then the final 100 were $15. The creation body would accept the petition, and then the smart contract would allow for 200 mints. And then there's going to be 3 scenarios that I can think of what would happen next. So the first one would be this event mints 200 POAPs, and the full collateral is used, and that's it. Event over. The second would be that this event did not mint 200 POAPs, and the remainder of the collateral bond is going to be released to the issuer after the event expires. And then third, this event, it needs more than 200 mints. So the issuer, they can come back here and they can add more funds to this collateral bond, which then would allow for more mints, and it would continue at the current margin rate. So since, say, they would mint 200, now if they threw up $20, maybe that's going to be another 100 links that they're going to be allowed to have, or 100 mints that they're going to be allowed to have. So meanwhile, the collector would still have a similar, if not same, experience, because I believe POAP Inc. covering the gas fees on Gnosis chain allows for the best user experience when collecting. And the seamless process that the subsidy creates, I think it's too much to sacrifice when it comes to things like new user onboarding and just easy product use. And really, from my understanding of Gnosis chain fees, it's really not that much of all. I think POAP Inc. can more than make up for it by just including the costs into the marginal mint rate, basically just pricing it in. And honestly, I believe this kind of system will allow all parties to benefit. Small issuers and small groups, they would still be able to have access to POAP events, and they would get accustomed to using the technology, while bigger issuers, they can pay their fair share for using the tech to improve their events, communities, or their products. And the collateral bond system would also allow for rebates if an event doesn't mint out, or for the issuer to easily extend who can mint their POAP without needing to contact the curation body. So a good way to sort of eliminate a process there, because I know it can be kind of annoying when you're like, oh man, I only asked for 100 mints, but I actually need 200. It can be kind of tricky to get that extra 100. And simultaneously, POAP Inc., they'd be able to collect fees that can pay for their infrastructure and employee salaries, and it's not going to feel exploitative or become a burden to use. And I understand that a lot more really needs to be considered before something like this is going to be possible. And I'm not going to claim to know all the answers here. And honestly, I really have no idea if this is even a good idea or if it's even fully possible. But when it comes time for POAP to roll out these monetary changes, I'm sure that they're going to put a lot of consideration to the many aspects that's going to be surrounding this. And I just hope that my idea was able to help out. So ultimately, it's just going to be some sort of interface, which I'll go ahead and pull that up again. Going to be some sort of interface where you say, all right, I want to post the bond, and it tells you this is how many mints you're allowed to have. And then maybe it works kind of like a liquidity pool in a way, or similar to that, where as it's being minted, the funds can sort of be pulled away. I'm not sure how that works in terms of transaction fees and other costs with the network. If it's possible, then cool. Or maybe it should just say, oh, okay, we're tallying up every single mint link that's being used. And whenever it expires, it says, all right, you had, in this example, 200 mints. After running your event through, we see that there was still 50 left. So here, here's the remainder. I guess if I can do quick math on that, that would be like, all right, here's $5 back, or whatever it would be. But all right, guys, what do you think? And feel free to give me feedback in either the comment section or by tweeting me at the POAP Report. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Really appreciate you doing that for me. If you liked what you saw, maybe you should hit like. Maybe you should hit subscribe. Who knows? If you want to see the full show that this segment came from, you want to click here now. Thanks so much for stopping by, everyone. This is Mr. Mojo, signing out.